So in this video, we're going to be creating a parking lot. So in order for us to be able to create a parking lot, so that means maybe on that particular road, there is an attraction or a place where drivers maybe tend to, maybe in form of a supermarket where they can buy things. Maybe it might be a mall. No, they might always want to park and get whatever thing they want to get, maybe their groceries or whatever it is, then proceed on on their journey. So in this case, just like the way we did the previously for the bus stop, we know the bus stays maybe within 10 seconds minimum, 20 seconds average, on 30 seconds max, like we're able to configure or modify in the previous video. But in this case, we know when you go into the grocery store, you spend more time compared to the the number of minutes or seconds you spend when it comes to the bus stop. So these are some of the things we are going to be taking into consideration in this video. So but the first thing is that let's identify which part of the road do we want to include our parking lot. So let's assume that there is a building, maybe a restaurant or whatever here, be it a restaurant, a mall, or supermarket around here. So let us create it from the east to the west. Let's take it from the east to the west. So in that case, we can just loop between and bring in our parking lot. There's a parking lot. We can drag it into the model. Let's just drop it here. Let me try that again. So now that we have been able to introduce the parking lot, we can just click on it. If we want to expand, we can also expand. If we want to move, we can move. But in order to edit the properties, we can come under the properties. So as we can see, it's in a parallel form. We can also have it in a perpendicular form. It's quite easier for, and if you also want to put it in a diagonal form, it can be this way also, in this diagonal form. So everything all depends on the how we want it to look like. So going back to going back to it again. So I think we can all agree to leave it as put it in a perpendicular form. And how many number of spaces do we want? Maybe you can just say we want like 7. And then the length of the parking space, we also have it here. So we have the parking space for what? That is the W. Let me just leave it, parking space W in the west region. So that means what we are trying to do is to create this parking space for buses or for cars, either coming from it can be either from the west to the east. Also, we can have vehicles coming from the north to the east. The same way we can also have vehicles coming from the south to the east. But first, let us configure it in sense of vehicles coming from the east to the west. So for vehicles coming from the east to west, let us go under our west. So this is the west. So which one represents? So we can just bring this out, so it will be easier for us to edit the properties. I can move this here, delete this connector, then we connect it. So we can have something like this. Then the next thing is the car move tool. We introduce our car move tool. Then after introducing the car move tool, we also introduce our the delay block. We introduce the delay block. So now we have this being included. So the difference between when we are creating for the bus stop and also the parking lot is we also bring in the car move to for both of in both cases, and also the delay in both cases. But this time around, when we get under the car move to, instead of choosing bus stop, we'll have to go for parking lot. So this is what I'm trying to say. We go under the properties. So here we have the road, we have the parking lots, bus stop line, and a bus stop. In the previous video, when we were creating for bus stop, we had to choose bus stop, but in this case, we have to choose the parking lot. So we have to choose the parking lot. So, and here, the which of the parking lot is it? We only have one, which is the one we created. So move to P, that is the parking lot. So the parking lot is where is on the west road. So that means from the east coming to the west, just like we have it. So that means it is moving and to the west. So we can edit her. We come under the properties here and the delay. So this time around, since delay for parking, delay park. So since we're doing for the parking, we might not leave it in seconds. We can just make it in minutes, change it to minutes, because when we this will be a minimum of 10 minutes, an average of 15 minutes, then this can be, let's say, a maximum of 30 minutes as the delay time. So the maximum we have there was the maximum capacity. We have five. Do we have five? Is it five or seven? So I think I still have to confirm that. One, two, three, four, five, six. So we have it as seven. So here we have seven. So which is more like the maximum capacity too. So so the maximum capacity, which is seven. So so at this point now, what we're trying to do is from the east, the cars from the east that is going to the west, they can be able to use the car park we have there, and we have been able to set the delay time, the number of minutes you can spend there and move. So, but like I said in the and also in the previous video, the cars moving from those points of the east road moving to the west road and wants to make use of the car park, that is the only thing we've been able to adjust here. But in this case now, it shows that all the vehicles that we have in this model will be going to the car park, and in that case, if we have about 1,000 vehicles there, all the 1,000 vehicles cannot go into the park, because that is what we've been able to create. So we need to be able to create an extra connector that shows that when the car park is at maximum, the other vehicles can proceed on the road rather than making use of the car park. So just in this case, what I'm trying to do, okay, let's look at this. So we have the one, they have the 1,000, then the history, the forward lane, yeah, every other properties are there. So let me just try to make this 500 instead. So we have 500 per hour. So if we decide to run this model or the simulation of this, it will show that all the vehicles have to go through the park, and within few seconds into the simulation, we'll get an error message showing that the car park has already add the vehicles to this maximum, and when it's at maximum, other cars will not be able to enter the park, and it cause an error in the simulation. So which is what we have right now. So let us try to run the model. So we can see at this point we can see some of the vehicles entering the parking lot. You can see we already have two. So we have other vehicles also coming, entering into the parking lot. So the moment it gets to a maximum of seven, I know we should be able to get an error message. So we have three of them now. So we can see that we don't have any other vehicles going on that road. Every car that is coming in are stopping at the parking lot. That is because we did not specify that when we have that kind of scenario, we can have other vehicles going on that road. So it is just for whatever vehicle, for whatever car coming in must stop at the parking lot. That is based on the flow logic we are able to create. So these cars, it's not applicable to the trucks, it's not applicable to the bus, and we can see. So the more we keep having other cars coming, this will keep happening. So that means there is a need for us to be able to go back to the drawing board. I mean, go back to a logic flow and be able to edit, showing that okay, this is only going to be happening at random, not just at random. And the moment we have a maximum at the parking lot, then other vehicles can proceed on the road rather than So what it means at this point is that when we get to that particular point where we have the cars at maximum at at the parking lot where we need other than other vehicles, other cars trying to wait, we can just use this connector, maybe connect. So we can connect it this way. So in this case, when we have the vehicles coming in and it's already at maximum at the at the parking lot, then others can continue move on ahead on that particular road. So this is just how we create our parking lot and also be able to create a level of continuity in the simulation when our parking lot is at maximum or it's at full capacity.